Hello children, welcome to online class. I hope you are safe and good. Children, now it's time to take a look on Unit 4 poem The Spider and the Fly, written by Mary Botham Howitt. Children, before we go into this lesson, let me ask you some warm-up questions. If your little brother or sister does not like to eat any of these following vegetables, can you see in the pictures vegetables? Yes. How will you make him or her to eat them? What are all the flattering or tempting words you might use to convince them? So, what are all the convincing words, tempting words you use to convince them? Okay, so these answers you will be writing in your classwork. Okay, children, let us see about the poet Mary Botham Howitt. Mary Botham Howitt, 1799 to 1888, was an English poet. She was born at Colford in Gloucestershire. She was educated at home and read widely. She commenced writing verses at a very early age. So she started writing verses at very early age. Together with her husband William Howitt, she wrote over 180 books. So along with her help of her husband, she wrote nearly 180 books. Very nice to hear, is it? Okay, so let us see about the poem The Spider and the Fly. Children, The Spider and the Fly is the poem by Mary Howitt. Actually, this poem is published in 1828. This is a funny little serious piece of vein of the spider's sense. This poem tells the story of cunning spider who ensnare a fly through the use of seduction and flattery. The poem also teaches the children to be cautious against those who use flattery and charm to disguise their true evil intentions. Okay, children, now let us read the poem to understand better. Okay, shall I start? Will you walk into my parlor? Said the spider to the fly. This is the prettiest little parlor that ever you did spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show when you are there. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, to ask me in vain. For who goes up your winding stair can never come down again. So here, the poem opens with the dialogue between the predator, the spider, and a prey, the fly. In the first stanza, you can see that the spider wanted the fly to get into her home. She is putting a question that, will you come into my parlor? So why she is asking that? She wanted the fly to get into her parlor. Here the parlor. What is the meaning of parlor, children? The meaning of parlor is, it is given in your glossary. A tidy room in a house used for entertaining guests. So here she is inviting the parlor that. Why? Because this is the prettiest parlor that ever you did spy. Here prettiest is the superlative degree. So she says that this is the prettiest parlor that you have ever seen in this world. So you can come into my parlor to see my prettiest parlor. So next line she says that the way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show when you are there. So to way to my parlor is up a winding stair. That is, you have to cross a winding stair to come to my parlor. If you come to my parlor, I have many pretty things, I have many curious things to show you when you come to my parlor. So who is saying this? The spider is saying to the fly. How she is saying? She is putting a question that, will you come to my parlor? Will you come to my parlor? That is, will you come to my home? This is the prettiest parlor. You have to cross the winding stair to come to my prettiest parlor, so that I can show you many pretty and curious things there. So now the fly is replying, oh no, no, said the little fly, to ask me is in vain. So now the fly replies that, no, no, the question you are asking me is vain. Vain in the sense it's useless. I know that whoever goes to your winding stair has never come back again. So the fly is replying, giving an answer that whoever has come to your winding stair has never come back. That is, they are sentenced to death. They have never come back. So the question you are asking me is useless. So don't ask me this question. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed? Said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around. The sheets are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snuggy tuck you in. So here the spider once again says that I am sure, dear, that you are tired. In the first stanza, he is not using any word like dear, and in the second stanza, he says that I know, dear, you are very tired since you are flying very high. So you need a rest now. So you can take my little bed, said the spider to the fly. And he also says that the spider also says that my bed is surrounded with a pretty curtains, and the curtain sheets are fine and thin, so that you can rest a while. I can serve you with a drink or to eat something. So the spider here once again says that I know, dear, you are very tired since you are flying very high. So why can't you come to my little bed to take a rest? My bed is surrounded with pretty curtains, where the curtain sheets are very fine and thin. You can rest a while so that I can serve you with a little drink or to eat something. So here the spider once again requests the fly with starting dear. Let's see what is the reply given by the fly. Oh, no, no, said the little fly. For I have often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed. So here the fly says that, again she says that, no, no, I have often heard from my fellow mates that they have never come back, never come back again who slept in your bed. Whoever have slept in your bed, they have never come back. They have never woke up again. Okay, that is, they are permanently sleeping forever. So here once again the fly rejects to the spider. Let's see now what the spider is doing once again. Okay, said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I have always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please take a slice? Let me read once again, children. Said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I have always felt for you? Here, the cunning spider once again says to fly that, dear friend, here first in the sense without dear, in the second stanza dear, in the third stanza the cunning spider is using the flattering words here, dear friend. What can I do to prove my warm affection? What can I do to show my warm affection? How I can prove my warm affection to you that I have always felt for you? So here she says, the spider says that, dear friend, I have always felt a warm affection for you. How can I prove that for you? Then it follows by the, I have within my pantry good store of all that is nice. So here the children, the pantry refers to the room where beverages, food, dishes are stored. So here she says, here the spider says that I have a pantry good store, that is, I have a pantry that is filled with food and dishes in my home. I'm sure you are very welcome, and will you please to take a slice, and you are very welcome to my home, you are warm welcome to my home. You can come there and take a slice. So here the spider flirted the fly by saying, dear friend, I have felt always a warm affection for you. to prove that I have a pantry, I have a food and dishes at my home. If you come there, is your warm welcome to my home to eat all those. And please, if you come, please come there and take a slice over there. So the spider once again is requesting, fluttering the fly. Let's see what the fly is doing now. Oh, no, no, said the little fly. Kind sir, that cannot be. I have heard what is in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. So here the fly says again, no, no. Here once again she starts with the no, no, but now she uses the word see. Before that she has not used the word sir and all, but now in the third stanza she has used the word kind sir. No, can you see that? See, oh no, no, said the little fly. Kind sir, that cannot be. So this cannot be happen. I cannot come to your home because I have heard what is there in your pantry, and because I have heard from my people, from my fellow mates that what is there in your pantry, and I do not wish to see that, and I'm not interested to see what is there in your pantry. Okay, yes, now let us see the next stanza. Children, I hope you have understood what I am taking now. Okay, now see, sweet creature, said the spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings, how brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you will step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. So now the spider, see again it started fluttering that by saying sweet creature. So sweet creature, said the spider, you are witty, you are wise. So now the spider is appreciating the fly by saying sweet creature, you are witty. So the meaning of witty is you're intelligent. Okay, you're very smart and talented fly. How handsome are your gauzy wings. How handsome, how beautiful are your gauzy wings. How beautiful, how brilliant are your eyes. So actually children, brilliant here it's meant to be brain, is it? Here the spider is saying how brilliant are your eyes. So after saying that, the spider says that I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. So I have a little looking glass on my parlor shelf. That is, in the shelf of my parlor, I have a little looking glass. So you can step in a moment. So one moment you can come to my parlor so that you can see your beautiful face. Okay, so that you can see your beautiful face, beautiful wings. So see how nicely, how what will say, how sweet quoted words this spider is speaking. See, see, this sweet creature, said the spider, you are smart, you are talented, you are intelligent. How handsome is your wings, how brilliant is your eyes. So again, once again the spider says that I have a little looking glass on my parlor shelf. If you come for a moment, I will show you so that you can see your beautiful face in the mirror. So see, let's see what is the spider fly is giving a reply for spider. I thank you, gentle sir, she said. So here, after appreciating the beauty of the fly, now she stopped. Now the fly stopped saying no, no. So she has started saying, I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you are pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now, I'll call you another day. So here, the fly is thankful for the appreciation done by the spider. So in the before stanza, the fly was saying no, no, but now she has changed the mindset by saying thank you, sir, thank you, gentle sir. The words which you said to me, that is the words which you said to me are pleased to me. But now I am bidding you good morning. But now I am going by saying good morning, and I'll call you another day. Definitely I'll come to your place another day, but not now. So let's see what is happening in further. The spider turned him round about and went into his den. The spider turned him round about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. So now the spider has come to the opinion that definitely the silly fly, silly means not knowing anything, okay, innocent, this innocent fly will come back again. So the spider turned him round about and went into his den, went to his home, and this spider is very sure that this silly fly would soon be come back again, will definitely come back again. So he wove a subtle web. So it started subtiling the web in the corner of the sly and getting ready with the table to eat the fly now. Okay, to dine upon the fly, to jump and eat the fly now. Let's see what is happening. Let's see whether the fly is going to come or not. Then he came out to his door again and merrily did sing, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there is a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as red." Okay, so see, once again let me read these lines. Then he came out to his door again and merrily did sing, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly, with a pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there is a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like a diamond bright, but mine are dull as red." So here, once again, the spider is flattering the fly by singing a song. "Come hither, hither, pretty flies." So here, see how the spider is appreciating how it is fluttering the fly now. "Pretty fly with pearl and silver wings." So you have a pearl and silver wings, with your robes are green and purple, and there is a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like diamond, but mine is dull like a lead. So here the spider appreciates the fly that your eyes are like the diamond bright, but my eyes are dull like lead. So now let's see what this fly is doing now, whether it is getting trapped or not. Let's see now. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his willy flattering words, comes slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing. So now the poet says that, alas, alas. So this little silly fly, hearing this fluttering words of spider, slowly started moving to the spider's den. With buzzing the wings, she hung aloft and nearer drew. She went near and near to the web now. So she was thinking only the appreciations of the spider. It said, "No ma, brilliant eyes, green and purple hue, and crested head." Thinking all those things, poor foolish fly, it went near to the spider's web now. Okay, see, by reading the lines you will understand. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his willy flattering words, who is this his? Spider's fluttering words, came slowly flitting by. So all this slowly fitted in the fly's head. So with buzzing wings she hung aloft, then nearer and nearer drew. She went near and near to the den of the spider, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing. So now it has went into the den of the spider. Let's see what the spider is doing. Let's see whether the spider is really going to serve her with food and rest, or it is going to be a prey of the spider. Let's see. At last Up jumped the cunning spider, furiously held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den within his little parlor, but she never came out again. So at last the cunning spider jumped on the fly, and he dragged the fly on her winding stair into his dismal den. So the spider dragged the fly into his dismal den. So within his little parlor, but she never came out again. So within her, that is, the spider dragged the fly to the little parlor, and from then onwards she never came back. This little parlor, but she never came back again. And now, dear little children, who may this story read to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you never give heed unto an evil counselor. Close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. So here the poet, there is a sudden change in the poem lines. Can you see that? Yes. So actually we can observe a sudden change in the tone and narration of the poem in the last stanza. The poet carefully transform the story into a message to the children. Actually, children, this is the message given to you people reading the poem. The poet advises and warns the children not to pay attention to the idle, silly, and flattering words. She asks everyone to take a lesson from the story of the spider and the fly, and asks them not to commit the same mistake that the fly committed. So here the poet requests the children not to make the same mistake which has been done by the fly. Yes, is it in actually children, in the starting, the main, let me tell you from the first. In the starting, the spider and the fly, it reveals the story of a cunning spider fly with his devious words, and finally makes her fall into his trap. Is it? The spider tries to convince the fly to step into his home. He tries to entice her with the promise of showing her some pretty things in his home. He offers her a comfortable bed. He tries to deserve her by faking consent for the fly's weariness. The fly is very tired. Why can't you take rest? Yes, is it? He tries to befriend the fly by cordially welcoming her to his pantry. However, the fly is smart enough not to fall into his trap. She repeatedly dismisses him by telling him that she is aware of what happens to the victim that enter his trap. The spider then attempts to please her vanity by calling her wings beautiful and her eyes bright and shiny. He flatters the fly in order to trick her. He even suggests the fly to have a look at her own beauty in his home. The fly is flattered by the deserving gestures and plans on visiting the spider again. And when the fly comes back to the spider, he catches her instantly. The poem ends with the small message to all the children. The poet cautions the children against flattery by evil counselors. She asks them to take a lesson from flies' foolishness, resulting in a tragic end, and warns them not to be deceived by false flattery. I hope you have understood, children. The main moral of the story is, children, people can speak many sweet-coated words. They will be saying you are beautiful, you are intelligent, you are smart, you are talented. But we must be cautious about the reality and fake one. Okay, children. So finally, I would like to close this lesson by saying, be cautious about what is real and what is fact. Okay, do not believe blindly if someone says praising of you. If someone praise you, do not believe to that. Take time, think whether it is a real one or it is a word combined with flatterness. Later on, you decide to do whatever you are doing it. Okay, children. So this is a very nice poem. Okay, which helps the children to be smart enough. Okay children, PDF of these notes will be sent to you. So please kindly complete the classwork and submit the classwork at office room. Thank you children. Meet you again.